Angelo Live. We are not in studio today. It's Wednesday, and we are talking to candidates today. I've got Todd Kolls with me. Todd is running for Tom Green County Judge, and you're one of four candidates in the race, and you've had forum after forum after forum. There was the home builders put on a really good forum today. Yes, I think they did a great job. Kudos to them, and we got one more tonight. But this is to get you to introduce, to get the voters of you a chance to find out who you are and where you come from. So we'll start out with who is Todd Kolls? What education, experience, family? Who's Todd Kolls?
Well, thank you, Yantis, and thank you, San Angelo Live, for allowing us to do this, and y'all doing these for all the candidates. I appreciate that.
Yeah.
I'm Todd Kolls. I'm asking for your vote in the upcoming 2022 Republican primary. I was raised in San Angelo. I was a 1998 graduate of San Angelo Central High School. I am married. I met my wife in our church youth group. We married in 2005. We were high school sweethearts. We got married in 2005. We have three beautiful children that are 14, 11, and 8. And so I'm a full-time dad. And we own a jewelry store in the bottom floor of the Cactus Hotel. We opened in 2011. My wife was a special education school teacher here for SAISD. And in 2014, I needed more help at the office. We were able to build our small 500 square foot one-man jewelry store that we started with virtually nothing. And we were able to build that into a pretty busy little jewelry store.
Okay.
And so my wife retired from teaching, and she came to help me out. And in 2015, we were able to go buy another jewelry store here in town.
Okay.
And in merging the two together, we moved across the hall into a 3,000 square foot store with full retail operations as well as full wholesale operations in the back, and we've been running it that way for the last 6 years. So
okay.
I'm a business owner. I am a Little League coach. I've coached YMCA basketball for my kids, and so that is who I am.
Okay. You've also got, you spent some time on several boards in and around San Angelo, and I guess that one of the biggest as far as this race is concerned will be the Economic Development Board.
Right.
So a little bit about that.
So Dwayne Morrison called me 6-7 years ago and asked me if I would be interested in serving on the City of San Angelo Development Corporation. And I met with him and I accepted, and I started serving on that board, and it was an enormously important experience for me to be able to do what I'm doing now.
Yeah.
Through that board, we take half-cent sales tax from the citizens, and we turn those half-cent sales tax revenues that we take in back into economic development for the community.
Okay.
And we can do that through public partnerships with the city or county, and we can do that with private partnerships with other businesses and business owners.
Right.
And so what excited me about it was helping businesses grow and expand by helping them buy machinery, helping them expand onto the back of their business, helping build another 20,000 square foot onto the back of their shop if they needed, or buy some more equipment so that they could generate more revenues themselves. And in turn of us doing that, they would in turn have performance measures that they would have to live up to. And they would have to turn in how many full-time employees or FTEs they're going to bring to the community, and what kind of cash flow is that also going to bring back to the community. The City of San Angelo Development Corporation, led by Guy Andrews, has a phenomenal staff that work for the city.
Yeah.
And they know how to do it. And they are fantastic at bringing in. Michael Looney and Guy Andrews are so good at knowing what our community needs and knowing how to attract that to our community.
Okay.
And I was very fortunate to work with both of them. Bob Schneeman is another one, Nora Navarez, Nolan Sosa. They all did a fantastic, Shannon Scott while she was still here, they all did a fantastic job. And it was so much fun to see the economic impact that we could bring back to our community by using nothing more than half-cent sales tax dollars to reinvest into our community. Okay. And we help so many different private businesses, as well as we could also work with the city. And we could do public partnerships with them, with the railport, airport, Chadburn Street. We had so many different projects going. And so that experience, I was able to get up to the executive board and serve as second vice president, and then I served as vice president for a couple of years. In the last 2 years, I've served as president of that board. Okay. And we have had a lot of really good success, and we've had a lot of unique things come to our community in the Concho Valley.
Okay.
And that is a huge part of why I have decided to keep going with this and keep putting myself out there. So.
All right. Running for county judge. Now, the county judge in Texas is a statutory position. It's basically the CEO of the county, and there's some judicial responsibilities as well. And part of that job is juggling those 26 plus department heads, elected officials, and all their wants and needs and all the budget pressures there. What do you see as the biggest issues that will be facing the county judge and the county over the next 4 years during that term?
So we have been very fortunate in Tom Green County with the last 2 county judges that we've had. Judge Mike Brown came into an absolute mess when he took over.
Yep.
And he was, I think it was his 12th or 13th day, he was handed just an absolute spider web of a mess.
Yep.
And he worked tirelessly, and he did a fantastic job getting us out of that. Mm-hmm. And then we've had, of the 3 best county judges that I've researched, or the 3 best county judges I think we've ever had, 2 of them have been our last 2.
Okay.
And Judge Steve Floyd has done an amazing job as well of keeping things going and putting the county actually in a really healthy spot, in a really good spot. Mm-hmm. At the same time that they've been able to do that, we've had economic development. We've built a new jail, $75 million price tag out there sitting there.
Yeah.
And at the same time that we've done all these projects, we're still in a healthy spot. We're still in a good spot. So juggling, keeping what they've got going is important.
Right.
A judge to come in here day one and just start throwing his weight around or start doing this different, doing that different is not what we need. We need someone that's going to come in here and have a calm, collected presence, someone that's going to come in here and be respectable to the employees of the county. I mentioned earlier that my first duty is going to be to get in the car with Nate Southard, operations director, and he's going to drive around. We're going to meet every single county employee day one, first week hopefully.
Right.
And I want to look at every county asset that we have. I want to know what building materials, what buildings, what road maintain, every single piece of it. Mm-hmm. I want to get my hands on it. I want to talk to the people. I want to look them in the eye, and I want to ask them, what can the county do better? What can we do to improve their goals and their wants and their needs? And so I'm looking forward to that. As far as balancing out the judicial and the management side, that's going to come in time, and we're going to have to all have that learning curve to know how are we going to balance this? But the judge has some amazing people working in his office. Mm-hmm. We have Diana Speaker, Nathan Craddock on the financial side, 2 of the best financial county officials in the state, and we have them here in Tom Green County. And so we are very fortunate in that the incoming judge, whoever it may be, is going to be so blessed with being able to come in, get to work with some of the best people in the business, and also a commissioner's court right now. We have got 4 commissioners right now that work very well together. Mm-hmm. One of them is up for election against 6, I think, people in that election.
Right.
So we may have a new commissioner there. We don't know. But the commissioners right now work very well together, and that is an enormously important part of what the county judge does on a daily basis, is making sure that the communication between those commissioners, the constituents, all leads back to the county judge, keeping those things flowing. And I'm looking forward to all that.
Very good, very good. Well, this is an election, and there are 4 people running for this office. And voters they really have a tough decision to make starting Monday, the 14th, which is when early voting starts for Election Day, which is March 1st. Right. This is where I get to step away from the microphone, and you get to talk directly to the voters out there. And this is your unfiltered message to the voters, why they should vote for you. So this is Todd Kolls and the voters of Tom Green County. It's yours as long as you want it.
All right, thank you. I am Todd Kolls, and I'm asking for your vote. For those of you that don't know me, I am a Christian conservative. I put Christ before everything in my life. My wife and children mean everything to me as well. I'm a hard worker. I am a roll up the sleeves kind of guy. I'm not going to stand on the sidelines and watch a bunch of people doing stuff, and I'm going to get in there and I'm going to roll my sleeves up and I'm going to work hard. I have a story that I can tell quickly that might summarize a few different aspects of the county government, our police force, and a little bit about maybe who I am as a person. 3 years ago in my store, during our annual Christmas show. We were, my mom and my daughter that was 11 at the time, and two dear friends of ours from church were standing there looking at some jewelry, and I'm standing behind the point of sale desk. And this gentleman comes in, and immediately you can tell he was most likely homeless and or high on methamphetamine, whatever.
Right.
But this was someone that was up to no good. And as a jewelry store owner, I think any jewelry store owner will tell you, whenever that happens and someone comes into your store, your hair on the back of your neck stands up, and you get a real uneasy feeling. And I was standing there, and this gentleman came in, and he yelled from the front door. He said, "Hey, do you want to buy a gun?" And I mean, I immediately yelled back at him. I said, "No, I do not," and trying to forcefully get him to move on.
Right.
Well, he didn't move on. He came in the store. He walked around my mom and my daughter, and he came right up to me about 3 or 4 feet away from me. And I conceal carry every day. And it's in my front pocket, and I went into my front pocket, and I had my hand on my piece in my front pocket, and I was looking at him, and I could tell he was absolutely up to no good. He had his chin up, his eyes were bug-eyed. And he said, "Well, what do you think about this gun?" And he pulled his shirt up, and he had a gun in his waistband. Without hardly thinking, I was panicked, I was just, and so I immediately just came out of my pocket. I did not turn and point mine at him. I just came straight up out of my pocket, out of a reflex, basically. As soon as he showed me that, I showed him mine. And he immediately just turned around and took off running. And he hit the door, and he was out of there.
Okay.
And put it back, and I was shaky. And I was standing there for about 3 or 4 seconds, and I was like, what just happened? Because it happened in about 2 seconds. I was like, what just happened? And I said, you know what? Nope, not today. And I took off after him. And I got about halfway out the cactus garage going up to it, and I said, "Todd, what are you doing?" I said, "Well, just safely stay back." So I had the police on the phone, and I tracked him down all the way down Chadburn Street. He ended up going into Myers Drug, and I sat there and watched him go into Myers Drug, which is a scary situation because I don't know what his intentions are there either. But I do know he's high and he's got a gun. He goes into Myers Drug, he pops out, thank God.
Okay.
He keeps going up North Chadburn. We're walking, I'm still on the phone with the cops trying to tell him where I'm at, who I'm following. And all of a sudden a police officer pulls up next to me, rolls his window down, and I'm hanging up the phone, and I tell the police officer, it's that gentleman right there with the red jacket. Well, he had popped into Kolls Army Surplus.
Okay.
And about 4 seconds later, thank God, he popped out. He was back out on the street. And so I'm pointing at him to the police officer, and that's the guy right there. And I will never forget, but that police officer said, "Thank you, sir, but I got this." And he drove towards him. And I'll never forget that feeling of I get to stand back a half block away in my security space. I get to eject out of this situation.
Yeah.
But that brave officer has to go deal with this, and he was ready and willing to go deal with it. And at the time he got up to him, 2 other police officers were coming on North Chadburn. They all 3 turned, and then all I could hear was a bunch of yelling. "Get your hands up, get your hands up." I can't see them anymore because they've turned the corner, but I can hear it. And all of a sudden, the yelling went to an elevated screaming to get his hands up.
Yeah.
And I was tense because I was just imagining I'm about to hear pop, pop, pop.
Right.
And I didn't. It got silent. I went up and I looked around the corner. They had him on the ground. They had the gun on the hood of the police officer's car. Put him in the car, and I went back to the officer. Later that afternoon, the police officer came to my office to get my statement. And it turns out he had a felony amount of meth on him. He was high as could be.
Yeah.
And he never used the gun for any bad intentions. And it actually turned out to be a pellet gun.
Oh.
And he flashed that gun at Myers Drug. Myers had called the police. He flashed that gun at Kolls Army Surplus. They had called the police. So at 1 o'clock in the afternoon, we have a guy with a felony amount of meth on him walking down Chadburn, flashing a gun to different business owners. And I asked the police officer, he's like, he's taking my statement. I'm like, well, what's going to happen to him? And they're like, we're not exactly sure. We put him in the county jail. And at that time, it was still the old jail.
Okay.
And we checked later that night the jail log to see, and he had been booked. And then right under booking time, release time. And he was booked at 1:20 in the afternoon, and he was let go at 4:20 in the afternoon. He was there 3 hours. And I'll never forget that feeling I had of going, how can they possibly just keep someone that does this for 3 hours in jail?
Yeah.
And so I got to investigating it. And I got to looking into why. Well, it basically turns out that our jail was full.
Right.
We didn't have any more room. And they have to basically make a decision. Is being high, having a felony amount, and flashing a gun at people worthy of a room here, or should we just book him and bond him out and let him go? And that's the decision they were having to make with that old county jail.
Yeah.
And so I tell that story for a number of reasons. A, those are real issues that the county has to deal with. Those are real issues that the county has to take in and go, we've got to do something to help that situation so that 3 hours later, he's not just back out onto the streets. But also I tell that story for the bravery of the police officers and the sheriff's department and how much I'm going to have their back, because I'll never forget his face whenever he said, "Thank you, sir, I got it."
Yeah.
And he went to the problem. And I also tell that story in a little part because that's who I am.
Right.
A lot of people said, "Todd, why in the world did you do that?" And I did it because it made me mad. It made me mad that someone would do that in my store and in my community.
Yeah.
And so I'm going to roll up my sleeves and I'm going to charge head on into the problems. And I'm going to handle them in a calm, collected manner. But I am not going to shy away from problems. I'm not going to shy away from people that want to take advantage of the county, or if Austin comes in to try to take advantage of the county, or if Washington, D.C. with mandates and all these things that are crazy in our world right now. I'm not backing down. And I'm going to stand up for our community. And I cannot wait to be county judge. Heaven forbid, if I get it, I cannot wait. The more I've learned about the job, the more I know that I would do a great job. The more I've learned that I'm going to love doing the job.
Okay.
And so I really look forward to serving my community, and I ask for your vote, and thank you for your time.
All right. Still visiting with Todd Kolls. I've got two more things. The first is, how do voters get a hold of you to find out more?
You can get a hold of me a number of ways. My phone number is 325-212-2894. My office number is 325-655-6557. We're located in the bottom floor of the Cactus Hotel. You can come get me 9:30 to 5:30 any day, Monday through Friday. You might call to make sure I'm going to be there, because right now I'm in and out quite a bit with all this campaign stuff. But you can email me, toddkolls@aol.com. Yes, I do still have AOL. I was, 13 years old when I got that email, and it's always worked, so why get rid of it? But any questions or concerns, you just contact me on my phone, text, email. I'm willing to sit down with anyone and talk about any issue they want.
All right. The last thing is, this is mid-February, and we're neck deep in stock show.
Oh, yeah.
You are part of the stock show board and the premium sale and all that, and those kids are out there working hard right now. So
They are. I'm actually heading out there here in just a little bit. We spent the weekend out at the stock show. Our community, well, it's what our community does best, is that rodeo and stock show.
Yeah.
It is a fantastic benefit to our community, and I am so very fortunate to be able to serve on the board of directors for the rodeo, as well as the stock show, and serve on the committee for the premium sale. That premium sale is so much fun to watch. My kids show lambs, and I know how much hard work and effort goes into showing lambs, steers, pigs, anything. There is an enormous amount of work that these kids put into it. And most every one of those kids that's out there in that barn working constantly are also playing basketball. They're playing baseball. They've got all kind of stuff going. And so those kids, you see some of the hardest working people you will ever know in a stock show barn. And those kids, the value of the work ethic, the value of how to treat animals and how to treat other people, everything that they get from that stock show is just immeasurable in the value that they get back from that. And so we are so fortunate to have such a strong stock show, such a strong rodeo. And it's a lot of fun. We were out there this weekend, and we got to watch my niece show the lamb Saturday and Sunday. And we just have a lot of fun with it. But I love being a part of that premium sale, watching those kids come on stage, introducing those kids, and then letting the community just start buying those animals and donating some money back to those kids and those efforts for those 4-H projects. And it's really a neat thing.
And I'll agree with you. That's a very satisfying part of being part of that in this community for a long time. It's great.
One of the most satisfying things. I get to stand on stage and I get to introduce those kids as they come up, and I get to be a big part of that. And watching the auction, watching the kids, and one of the neatest things about a premium sale is several times over the last few years, there has been a kid who has maybe lost a parent to cancer or whatever may be. And the people inside that sale, when that kid comes up there, you can feel the frenzy in that crowd because this kid's about to get rewarded for his time and his effort.
Yeah.
And it is so neat to watch those kids that have had tragedy in their life, watch our community give back to them. And it's a very special thing. I'm glad to be part of it.
And I agree. This has been another episode of Meet the Candidate. The election is coming up quick. We start early voting on Monday, which is Valentine's Day, February 14th. 4 people in this race. Election day is March 1st. Now, this particular race, there's a guy out there that's doing his best to get on the ballot in November as an independent.
Gary Jenkins.
And so there's a possibility of a runoff in this race that would be May 24th.
Correct.
And after that, Mr. Jenkins can start his process of getting on the ballot. So the ultimate winner of this contest will go to the November general election, and the winner of that will be sworn in on January 1st, 2023 to be our new county judge. There's another forum tonight with the county judges, and then
6 o'clock at the stables.
At the stables, and then one tomorrow night for the 6 county commissioner candidates, same time, same place. And we'll be at both of them. So for San Angelo Live, I'm Yantis Green.